What's up, everybody? It is the Wednesday Player Show here on FantasyElite, the InsidersTV Daily Fantasy NFL. We're talking with none other than Gindy989, who's going to be the host for today. No pressure, Mark.
No pressure.
But by no pressure, I mean lots of pressure. Dan Gasper, Mr. Total 05, and then the guy that has the new webcam.
Oh, yeah.
And the Giants gear, Napster Man. You look so much better, Nap. You are adorable. You really are.
What the hell?
We can finally see the sunburns.
It's still there, dude. I got scars, man.
Do you really have scars?
Just a little bit on the like extra deadly spots.
Take your shirt off. I'm just kidding.
I can't change anything till the game's over.
Unless you're gonna do it. Okay. Well, obviously have a lot to talk about today. This is a big week. This is the first time, like in the industry, that we've had this low entry to win $1 million. I mean, $27 is going to make someone $1 million, or there's going to be like a 10-way tie. Yeah. But even if you get $100,000 off of $27, that's not a bad thing at all. So
pretty bad, actually.
No,
pretty bad. It's pretty bad, man. Because you're just so close to winning $1 million.
Okay,
I hope second to first is like a 20-point gap, so it's not just like some sick 0.5.
Yeah, so
900K swing.
So that's what I'm saying. Like all of a sudden, like you're tied second through 11th, and something happens where you get first, and it's like a huge swing. That's why I think that still being first. I'm not,
like an overturned Jamal Charles fumble for a play action Travis Kelce touchdown on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, or like first place. What's the Monday night game this week?
Seattle, Washington.
Yeah, so first place has Russell Wilson. He takes a knee and gets negative points, and second place wins it. I mean, it's going to be very interesting. But as far as the industry standpoint, you're seeing DraftKings everywhere this week. They're kind of going all out on advertising. I was telling the guys yesterday, the Dan Patrick Show, which they've been sponsored before, but they had like a whole 5-minute segment on it. And they were all over ESPN and Yahoo, and I mean they're.
Did you watch the World Series of Poker last night?
No, I did not.
They started airing the main event. I guess that's 2 or 3 weeks in. It's like DK is everywhere. They got like the DraftKings King of the Night segment. It's crazy.
DraftKings. So last night I walk into my basketball game in Basketball City in Manhattan, and I walk out. I have my DraftKings towel because I sweat a lot.
Uh-oh.
And I just see like 7 guys on the side playing pickup like 3-on-3, and I noticed they're wearing FanDuel shirts. So they come up to me like, "Hey, I heard you play on DraftKings." I was like, "I play a lot on FanDuel. I mean, I just have the towel because I was with them in Bahamas. You guys can send me some apparel. I'll wear it, no problem."
Was it like West Side Story DFS edition?
No, not at all. Not at all. They were nice. I mean, I kind of told them like, "Yeah, thank God your website." I go, "Thank God your website didn't crash this week, right?"
Wait, who was it?
One of them actually follows me on Twitter, and he didn't realize the laughter.
Yeah.
Was it like the head employees or like
I don't know.
Ken and Nigel or like no.
Nigel's not playing basketball. Guys. I'll go and tell you that the head guys are not playing basketball.
I was like,
I'll give you the name of one of the
Nigel popping threes.
Frank. One of them that followed me on Twitter is Frank Locasio.
Oh yeah, Frank is like a big
manager.
He is a big guy. He's the guy that Mike Vick mentioned last week on Throwback Thursday.
Really?
Yeah, Frank posted a picture of him next to Jeter, the Capitan, and Mike Vick retweeted it with the captain of FanDuel with the captain.
Yeah, it seemed like an unprompted tweet.
It wasn't a sponsored tweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, Frank's a good guy. I've met him before. But yeah, Nigel is not playing pickup basketball.
No, it wasn't Nigel.
Speaking of Twitter, we got to give Davis props. Davis is like the Twitter all-star.
Oh,
He got Brandon McCarthy replying directly to him, like unprompted, directly replying to him, and he got Travis Kelce also.
But you know what? Davis deserves that because he really, really gets his Twitter action in throughout the day. Like, his blood pressure goes up and down based on his Twitter interactions. And you know what? Let him have it. Let him enjoy it.
Well, what? He's got like 50,000 tweets, so yeah, I mean, it's bound to happen.
Yeah,
Davis just gets into Twitter brawls with anyone, even if they don't deserve his attention or his time.
His tweet to follower ratio is not that good, to be honest.
Dude, that's crazy. The back-to-back days Kansas City had, though. Like, I can't even imagine that for like the two teams you follow. That's insane.
Yeah, they're
blowing out like kind of a rival, and then just one of the best games ever.
Yeah, they said like best 2 days or best 24-hour period in Kansas City history.
Yeah,
but maybe worst in Oakland history.
They're not a rival. They're not a rival, but I mean,
Davis and Blue Stem. Blue Stem was going crazy last night about Kansas City.
Oh yeah, I bet KC Chiefs fan was too.
Yeah,
he's a big FanDuel guy. Anyways, so there's going to be also Napster Man. You beat me last week in FantasyElite competition.
Yeah, that Sankey to Ebron was the difference.
Yep.
No, it wasn't.
No, I think Whitehurst didn't do too bad for me, but you had some studs going for you. I forget who they were, but who was the
Jordy and Rogers? That was it.
Yeah, Jordy Rogers and another whoever the other guy was that
Bennett Cutler combo.
No, it was somebody else that had like 30. I forget. Oh no, I know. I think you had Donnell.
You had Jordy.
Antonio Brown. Someone had him.
Yeah,
he wasn't in the slate.
Nap had to have Steve Smith on a revenge game, right?
Yeah,
I had Hilton. He didn't do.
I'm gonna have to have a revenge game versus Knapp. Also on DraftKings there is the largest ever 50-50.
Yeah.
11,000 people.
There will be trains.
Wow. All right, guys. Mark, I'm gonna let you take over. Please don't screw this up.
There's like a 90% chance that I'll screw it up, but you can take the odds on the 10%.
If you do, I'll ask for a refund.
All right, guys. I'm ready to talk football, and I never had such an easy time getting my buddies to join DraftKings because of this $27 chance to win $1 million. So you want to go? You want to start by talking about Thursday games or jump right into the millionaire?
I'd say talk about Thursday's game because there's some interesting little nuggets in Thursday's game.
There are. We got a lot of swag guys playing on Thursday between Jerick McKinnon, Jordy Cordarrelle. All right, Dan, Green Bay. Let's go. Who do you like?
Yeah, it's your team.
Well, I was responding to a question, Chad. I'm actually kind of disappointed that this game isn't included. Well, obviously they're not going to include the Thursday night game, but I wish this game was played on Sunday so we could play players from it in the Millionaire Maker. One of the best strategies that I think for GPPs, especially one of this size, is kind of doing the whole pairing of the return man with the defense. And I think both of the top options in the league are going tonight with CPAT and the Vikings D, and then Packers and Randall Cobb. So I was kind of disappointed. I was kind of going through my list trying to figure out who I could pair in that sense, and then I remembered that Thursday night's game was between the Packers and Vikings. So that stings. I'm probably not going to play Thursday night action. Basically, what I do is I think it's more exploitable if it's a game where you're projecting the offenses not to really put up points. I think there'll be plenty of points on Thursday, so you'll want some sort of action from that game if you're playing. So I'd rather just fade it and kind of just watch it as a fan.
I personally think that joining some GPPs that start on Thursday this week might help in the Millionaire Maker just to, on FanDuel, just because you can see ownership percentages and relate it back to DraftKings.
Or you could just read our follower fade article.
Yeah, that would work also.
You could join DraftKings Thursday.
Yeah, but you won't see the players. You won't see the players.
Ah, damn it. I'm such an idiot. Yeah. You're right.
You won't see the players. It's kind of, it'll help. It'll help you go contrarian a lot. And then we have Green Bay at the highest projected score of the week, and it's too bad it's going to go to waste for a Thursday night game. Nap, who do you like on the Minnesota side this week?
I mean, I'm not too high on Asiata. If you were going to take a running back in that game, like they're probably going to fall behind. It's going to be raining too, so I like McKinnon a lot especially for the price difference between him and Asiata. Like 18 carries last week. If it's a blowout, he's going to get all the work. He should get more snaps, more catches. So I think McKinnon's the RB to have if you are going to take someone on Minnesota. And then the wide receivers, like Jarius Wright kind of broke out last week. He's super cheap everywhere if you want to gamble on that again. But it's going to be raining. It's just hard to take anyone on that offense. Like Bridgewater's, you're not sure how he's going to hold up. His ankle's going to hold up. I just, can't really touch him in any Thursday cash games, that's for sure. But there's a lot of flyers maybe in the passing game.
It's actually kind of interesting that Teddy is going to be limited in practice, and Minnesota is probably going to fall behind in this game. And if I'm playing a Thursday slate, I would try and sneak in Green Bay's defense, only because Minnesota will probably be forced to throw a lot this game if they fall behind, and it's just going to create a lot of turnover and sack opportunities for Green Bay at home with a injured Teddy Bridgewater being reluctant to run.
McKinnon's missed some practice this week too, hasn't he? I don't know how serious it's been. I think he's still likely to play, but I'm almost positive I've seen him potentially miss. He's limited because of an ankle, I think is all it is. So that's going to be something that you'll obviously want to keep an eye on. Something else that I think's funny talking about the Vikings is it's not very often you're going to see a guy score 3 touchdowns and see his fantasy value probably decline. But that's essentially what happened with Asiata because of McKinnon's emergence. So I haven't touched Asiata yet. There's no way I'm touching it again. I agree with Nap. I think if you're going to go any running back in this game, it's going to be McKinnon.
Okay. Packers, any Rogers, Jordy, typical.
Yeah.
Would you play Eddie Lacy?
I mean, not
just say yes. So we can get Davis to go nuts.
Yes. No. There's so many other better options. Like, yeah, he might get a little more carries because of the weather, and they're probably gonna be leading. But man, he's just he'll probably be a little overowned because he's people want to sweat that game, but there's just so many better options.
So as I was saying that it might make sense to play some GPPs that start on Thursday to get the ownership percentages. In the $25 FFC qualifier on FanDuel last week, I finished in the top 20, but I had Rodgers, Jordy, Antonio Brown, and Alshon. If I did the super Green Bay stack and got Rodgers, Jordy, Cobb, and Antonio Brown in there, I would have been right there to win it, and I might just throw that into those GPPs that start on Thursday just to double down on it. It's probably not going to be as successful as it was last week, but
it's crazy. That's like the only offense you feel safe pairing 2 receivers with the quarterback. Like maybe when Marshall's fully healthy, you do that with Cutler, but it's crazy how much he only goes to those 2.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also interesting that Cobb is getting red zone work.
Oh yeah.
Because of his size. So I don't know if that's gonna be sustainable. Let's see what happens. All right, so you guys want to start talking about Sunday?
I suppose.
Sure, I guess
I'm ready. This is a big week. So, Nap, how many lineups you running in there?
Man, I mean, I'm still trying to figure out like what's best. I'm not gonna do like 1,000. That's just crazy. But like somewhere between 1 and 200 feels about right. I mean, yeah, people are gonna make swap percentages. I'm still working on that. Like everyone, if you're not doing that, you're just giving equity away. But there's just so much. It's paying out like 15,000 spots. So I mean, you should cash a lot of your teams if you're putting in a lot of solid teams. So, and there's going to be a lot of dead lineups. People are going to try to train it. A lot of trains are going to die. I think it's a really good tournament just to go crazy with a lot of friends.
That's very interesting how you mentioned the swap percentages. You want to elaborate on that just for the people that don't know, that are not familiar with the late swap, because there's going to be a lot of people that only play on FanDuel, let's say, and join DraftKings this weekend just to get their hands onto this GPP. So is there anything you can tell them about swapping or the advantages?
I mean, just anything that's such a top-heavy payout, this one. Like, actually, I do call a lottery, like 90,000 teams. Like, you need to have as much exposure to other people's, ideas, lineup strategy. Just try to get, don't give away like 90% of your equity. Give maybe 60 to 40% just on other people's teams. It's just do it with people you trust. There's a lot of shady people that even in forums that are reputable. Just don't just do it because it sounds good. Do it because you know the person and the deal makes sense. Like you can double as many teams to win $500,000. Do it.
Dan, you got any strategies for the first-time DraftKings players that are going to join for this weekend?
I mean, the basic strategy when creating a lineup is make sure that you're putting your late starting guys, so either Sunday night or Monday night guys, if you have any, make sure you're putting those guys in your flex position. That way, if it gets to a position like where Smiz had last year, where it's coming down to the top two or whatever, you have the ability to kind of use a little game theory and swap guys if you need to.
Did you mean late swap or swap percentages?
Gindy, I think you meant late swap, but I don't know.
I meant both.
Meant
you
deals.
said swap, yeah. Nap alluded to it earlier, so I asked him to elaborate on that.
Yeah, I can just confuse everyone. No, there's a lot of swap strategy too on the getting ready for the Sunday and Monday night. Just getting in that situation. It's going to come down to two or three guys in the top 10 who have a big decision. You're going to have the same guy left, and who do you go to?
For example, like going back to this week, you could have had a tight end and a running back still to play after the Sunday day games were over. And it could have been Jimmy Graham and Kiri Robinson, or it could have been like a Jamal Charles and Travis Kelce. And if you have a chance in a GPP to win top-heavy money, and Jimmy Graham is probably going to be 40% owned in that GPP, you could have went the other way and just taken out Jimmy Graham, put in Kelce at a very low ownership, and get Jamal Charles in there at a very low ownership, and just pass a lot of people and make a lot more money than you would have had you stuck with Graham.
Yeah, I had a lot of Gronk, Edelman left in the tight end flex spot on DK, and I really stupid. I should have moved more to Kelce Charles combo, just to hedge a little. I just really thought the Patriots were going to do more. Really dumb.
Yeah. And also, not only Charles, you could have taken DeMarco Murray too. So it's just DraftKings.
No, I meant going into Monday. I meant, but yeah.
It's just going to be very interesting this weekend how some of the guys at the top are going to change some guys. The winner is definitely not always going to be decided Sunday at 1 o'clock on DraftKings. And that's, some people like it, some people don't like it, but that's what we got this weekend.
I mean, it could, or you said 1 o'clock?
I'm saying, because some people just set their lineups, the game starts, and they're used to not, not adjusting their lineup again, just locks. Or, if you play a lot of DraftKings, you know that your work is not done at 1 o'clock when lineup is locked.
Yeah, I was thinking you're talking about Lucannon saying like Monday Night Football game. There's not going to be too much guys in that game. You know, probably in the last second sweat. Like maybe Seahawks D, couple Garçons maybe if Deshaun's out. But yeah.
And Marshawn Lynch is a play.
Lynched, yeah.
I mean, even though Washington ranks very well against the run, but you know, if they're favored by 7.5, you got to figure Lynch is going to be in a position to really gain some yards in the end and hopefully punch in a couple touchdowns.
I'm still not sold on Redskins defense either. I'm not. I kind of wrote about it on today's article. I took a stance. I'm not sure you guys will agree with me on it. I said basically I'd rather have in the similar price range. I'd rather have Marshawn Lynch over like a Giovanni Bernard. And in the reasoning, I said I'm not sold on Redskins defense. They've had basically a battered Eagles O-line that they had to work against. Toby Gerhardt and the Jaguars and Texans, who actually rate out poorly on Pro Football Focus as well. And then we saw what the Giants were able to do against them. So I'm not as worried about that defense as a lot of other people are, and I think I'd rather have Marshawn Lynch over Giovanni Bernard.
Right.
I mean, I do agree on the volume and the goal line guarantees, but on a PPR site, Gio at 10 on a great day, especially that New England D looked horrible.
That's the thing. That's the other reasoning I had behind it is basically. So we saw New England D look horrible. They actually didn't. A lot of the damage wasn't done through the air to the running backs. It was basically all handoffs. I think they had each running back had like 1 or 2 catches was about it. And the thing is, they actually have a really good linebacker. He rates as the best linebacker in pass coverage on Pro Football Focus. Dante Hightower for the Patriots. So if he's kind of shadowing Gio Bernard or whatever, then I think he loses a ton of value. Like you said, if he's golden or if he's a lock to get those 5 to 6 catches, then Gio Bernard's a no-brainer, especially on a PPR site. But I don't think that's the case this week. I think he's limited in that category, which then makes his volume not volume, but it makes his value not as good.
Right.
Yep.
I
could see Lynch even being a quarter as owned in that tournament. Definitely.
Yeah. Exactly.
Maybe less.
Yeah. Lynch is the it's like the 8th highest priced running back this week. Guys, LaShawn McCoy is the highest priced running back this week.
Are you looking at FanDuel?
I'm looking at DraftKings.
DraftKings? Yeah, he's tied with Forte. It's just their
pricing
salaries.
Salaries are.
It's just nutty today or this week. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Dan. Any quarterback plays this week?
Quarterback. I mean, the one that stood out price point initially to me, I'm not sure I'm going to be on him as much as I originally thought. The biggest pricing kind of thing I saw on DraftKings as far as quarterback goes was Phillip Rivers at only 7,000 against the Jets. I'm not sure I'm going to have as much of him as I originally thought, just because I do think his upside is somewhat limited, which isn't exactly what you're looking for in a large field GPP like the Millionaire Maker. But as far as like FanDuel cash games go, I'll probably end up on Drew Brees again.
Don't do that. Don't do that, Dan. Nah, Drew Brees is a tremendous play at home against Tampa Bay.
Oh yeah. I think last year he had 5 TDs against them.
Yeah.
At home.
Nap, anything on quarterbacks from you?
I mean, it's hard to not like Eli again at home for 7,500 versus Atlanta. Like you saw what Bridgewater did, and I mean, everyone's going to be on Rashad. I don't think they're not going to really pair Eli with him probably, but I would hedge a lot of Eli and Cruz. Randall's insanely cheap. Donald, obviously, he's just got a ton of weapons. Odell Beckham might play too for him.
And they're throwing in the red zone a lot by the goal line.
Yeah, he had a rushing touch. I mean, there's a lot of ways he's going to get points against that defense. So
yeah. Giants have shown that. Shown that they want to throw there.
Make Eli teams for this tournament. Like, you have to.
Yeah. something interesting about quarterbacks in these large GPPs. A lot of the guys that win these things go cheap at quarterback.
Mhm.
You know, either they go cheap at quarterback, and they also, I mean, it's definitely not optimal, but they flex a tight end. You see a lot of winners like that in these large GPP tournaments. So it's just something
Yeah.
to keep in mind when submitting a lot of lineups into these things.
Didn't we say that about Breeze 2 weeks ago at home? You know, everyone's going to have a bad game in a good spot,
Yeah.
but you have to trust the numbers
Trust the
over time.
process. Trust the process also.
For a cash game, it's just, I mean, to me, it's Rivers or Breeze, pretty much, you know. If you want the safe quarterback.
Yeah. Art Vandalay is asking anybody like Bortles this week. I personally think that Bortles is an interesting play this week. At 5,200 on DraftKings. I'm gonna have a few Bortles lineups in there. You know.
Oh gosh, the crazy thing is Bortles, Allen Robinson.
The thing is, who do you pair him with?
And then do what you want.
I don't
Yeah.
mind him just by himself. You know, even he's gonna throw it to random dudes like Nick Jones. Nick, is that his last name? Last week? I can't remember his last name. Such a random guy. He scored the first touchdown.
I don't know.
It was like some
it really was random though.
He had 1 catch for 2 yards the whole game, but he had a touchdown. So it's hard to figure out who's gonna catch it for Jacksonville. But at that price at home versus a Pittsburgh team who's been kind of shredded versus the pass, Kelvin just killed him. Glennon just came back on him. I mean, I don't mind it at all.
Chelly86 is talking about Big Ben in play. Big Ben and Antonio Brown pairing is in play this week, and you know, a lot of the weeks in this year, just because when you want to pair a receiver with a quarterback, most of the time you like to get, when it's clear that the receiver is getting a lot of targets and most of the work, it's just easier to pick that receiver. So on a team like Pittsburgh, you're pairing Ben and Antonio Brown. It's not a decision like who do you pair Drew Brees with every week? Who do you pair, Andrew Luck with every week? So a lot of times in these GPPs, it's pretty easy to just get Big Ben in there because you're able to pair him with Antonio Brown. What about running backs?
Hold on. What do you think about just the strategy of in a big tournament like this, just doing quarterbacks by themselves and just getting, a ton of combos that is not pairing anyone with him, but because that's going to be so overdone, don't you think so? Like everyone's going to just automatically put a receiver.
Even though everyone's going to do it, the fact that you're not doing it, I don't think you're. I think you're limiting your ceiling basically if you don't do it. You know what I mean?
It definitely depends on the combo, but Rivers.
What you want to do is maximize your ceiling, right?
Yeah.
So by pairing a quarterback and his receiver, what you're basically doing is you're trying to reach that ceiling more efficiently in a faster way because you get a touchdown from Big Ben to Antonio Brown, you're getting double the points. However, if you only have one of them, the other guy has both, you're just gonna lose to him. Or even if he has one of them, you're not making up ground against him.
I guess it also depends how many teams you're doing. Like if you're doing like 10 Big Ben teams, and say he does 80 yards touchdown to Brown, 80 touchdown to Wheaton, and just 81 to Heath, and every single one of your Roethlisberger teams has one of those. It just kind of, if you have like a few teams with only Ben and then a bunch of other guys, I like it.
Okay. That's
It depends on the quarterback. Just don't go crazy. Always pairing. It's basically what I'm saying in a field.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's merit to that. I don't think you always have to pair for sure.
I know that in tournaments I generally try to pair, and in cash games I don't. I don't try to do it as much. But that's interesting take. That's interesting. Any FanDuel quarterback pricing sticks out this week?
I think it's the guy Nap touchdown would be Eli Manning.
Yeah, Eli Manning, 7,300.
Yeah,
I think that's really the big one. I really think you're probably playing either Eli or Drew Brees is probably the two options on FanDuel.
And I like Eli a lot too because Randall's kind of the biggest underpriced wide receiver.
Yeah,
I've
I like
seen.
him a lot.
Maybe Hawkins, but Randall's kind of the guy under 5,500 that, like, who else do you like under there? Torrey Smith there, like Wheaton.
Don't do this to me, Nav. You're gonna make me play Eli Manning. It's gonna be horrible.
You're gonna play Eli. Right now, I have Eli Randall Cruz stack in cash games. I just think there's just so much upset there against Atlanta.
Randall and Cruz, or
I do.
That game is the highest over under of the week.
It's the highest over under.
Wow.
It's a one point spread. They're at home.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I just wish Cam Newton was healthy and running because I would have him in a lot of lineups this week at home against Chicago, coming off 2 losses. But, you know, Cam Newton's value is with his legs, and he's not healthy yet. So
there was some talk. I touched on Newton in my article too. There was some talk that he's gonna get a little more action on the ground. Pay attention to it because obviously through the first 4 weeks, there's nothing indicating that he's going to be any value there. But if they do kind of call up or dial up some plays for him specifically in the running game, then his value skyrockets. So he's kind of a sneaky guy, I think, when it comes to DraftKings. He's a guy that I wrote up as far as a GPP play. I'd rather have him over Phillip Rivers because if he does get the rushing touches, then his ceiling is extremely high.
Yeah, Cam is one of the, you know, premier GPP plays at quarterback in the NFL because of those legs.
Mm-hmm.
And they literally only have Darren Reeves left. So if Reeves gets hurt, he might throw it 50 times. Like,
who else? Is Chris Ogbenai going to play?
Yeah. I mean, they'll have some backup, but man, it's just it could
last year we started seeing a lot of Mike Tolbert by the goal line, but the years before that, Cam used to always run it in.
Yeah.
And I think you could see more of that.
Yeah. All right, let's get to running backs.
Man, DraftKings is crazy pricing on running backs. Like
Rashad Jennings at 5,500.
I think Chris Ivory at 3,100 is just insanity. Kyrie Robinson's minimum price, Jeremy Hill's minimum price.
What is going on there?
There's so many.
Reeves is like.
Yeah, so many. It's not fun. It takes some of the joy out of the game, at least to me, when you can find guys that are actually good options.
Like
for minimum price.
How is Bradshaw 4,000? He has like 5 touchdowns. It's insane.
That is. It's good. They're trying to. I think what they're trying to do is reduce overlap. So basically, they're saying, you know, if salaries are strict, then it kind of forces people into a certain direction. So you take, you know, especially if you're doing like a pairing strategy. So if you're taking Phillip Rivers and Keenan Allen, if salaries are strict, then that's going to kind of force how you shape the rest of your roster. Whereas now they're basically saying, do whatever you want, which is gonna limit overlap a little bit. But it makes cash games unplayable on the site. But it makes big tournaments like this a little more fun, I guess, in the sense that you can basically do whatever you want.
As I said earlier, I think it makes it harder for us,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just to make decisions.
For one lineup cash game, it's definitely a lot of tinkering.
Yeah, I don't think you can do it. Like, I don't think it's. You can obviously, but I don't think it's a profitable venture to just run a cash game lineup.
I mean, you're going to be facing studs versus studs, even against new players. It's not that hard to see. You know, Macklin's underpriced. There's so many.
Yeah, and the thing with that, studs can go off regardless of matchup. So a guy might take Calvin Johnson, who's injured. Did crap last week, is injured. They might see him, I can fit Calvin Johnson in the lineup. Play him, and then they're going to beat your more optimal wide receiver play. So that's why cash games are unplayable, is because studs are going to go off regardless, and it's just, it's tough to play cash games on DraftKings.
It's going to be extremely tough to construct the cash game lineup on DraftKings this week. Nap, who are some of your favorite running back plays this week?
I like Le'Veon Bell a lot. I think
a lot.
I think it's a 2-touchdown game. You know, people
Guys,
gonna
you
be
heard
all-
it here first.
They're gonna be
Not
all
for
over Antonio. They're gonna see Rivers just went nuts on him. But Bell is way better than Donald Brown. I think they're gonna like actually kind of just grind it out. Let him get his. He didn't score last week. Let him get his touchdowns back. And I think Bell is just put him in your cash game, and then either you spend on Murray or kind of save on Rashad on DraftKings on FanDuel. Aren't Murray and Rashad pretty? They're not like huge difference, but what's Rashad?
Rashad is 72.
Rashad 72. Yeah, that's pretty cheaper actually. I mean, there's just a lot of. I mean, between Murray, Gio, Bell, and Rashad, I think just your two favorite out of those four is the way to go in cash games. Don't just go on a minimum price guy. There's so many other better spots, tight ends. I think where you can go cheap if you're not going Graham. But yeah, those are my top four.
Speaking
Murray,
of, who are your top four? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
probably Murray or Bell one, then Murray, and then Gio Rashad. Kind of, I like them both a lot in that 3-4 spot.
Speaking of Rashad Jennings, do we have an explanation on what happened last week with the 13 carries and the?
They were blowing him out, and they didn't. They basically said they were going to try to split carries because he had so many against the Texans. They didn't want to wear him out.
Right. He did drop a short touchdown pass, which was as Nap might know. My brother Teddy has Rashad Jennings in a lot of his season-long leagues, and you just could hear him screaming when Rashad Jennings dropped that touchdown.
Yeah, it's he. Like I saw on ESPN, he was like top 5 consensus. It's like this is just the sickest matchup.
Yeah.
The price on DK is just it's a joke, and he's going to be, I think, in a field this big, 20% owned, which is still a crazy amount, probably higher, but. If you want to fade one guy, that's the guy probably at running back.
Yeah.
He's kind of this week's
Donald. Top 5 of them. He's in the top 5.
He's this week's Donald Brown at that price, but he's not as risky as him, I don't think.
It's not as bad as Donald Brown.
No, or as bad.
There's no really good pivots at that price point is the problem on DraftKings too. Like there's not a whole lot of intriguing options kind of around the 5,500 range. So it's just so easy to put them in there.
Frank Gore, maybe. It's like back at home. I think I finally realized they need to just ride him. Like, yeah.
Andre Ellington against Denver is a pretty contrarian-ish play on a point per reception website because Arizona might be forced to throw, or they would like to control the clock with him. And coming off a bye, hopefully his foot is a little better. Carson Palmer should be back. He makes an interesting pivot at a contrarian play.
Palmer is up in the air now. They apparently suffered a setback, so I think you're unlikely to see Palmer, but I don't know how much that even affects the game, to be honest. I actually like both running backs in this game, kind of as contrarian plays. Monte Ball's price has come down to a point where it's potentially exploitable. He's 7,500 on FanDuel, 6,500 on DraftKings, and it will be. I guess it kind of comes down to how the game plan works out. I can see Ball kind of going off if they can get him out in space and kind of work the dump down game with him. I think he could have a huge day. So it kind of just depends on if that's in the Broncos game plan this week or not. But that's where he'll be more valuable is kind of in the passing game this week as opposed to running against the stout Cardinals defense.
I'm just waiting for Monte Ball to have a Nosha Moreno-esque game for Denver. As ugly as that sounds, and as beautiful as
think about. Go ahead.
No, you just ruined my line.
Beautiful as that sounds. That's beautiful.
You just killed it, man.
Say it again. I got excited.
Take 2.
No, what were you saying?
I was just looking at the Bell Bush situation. Like Bell didn't practice today, concussion. If he's out or they say he's gonna be limited, I think Bush becomes monster play.
Yeah, at home against Buffalo.
Especially on, I know I'm not talking about draft day, but he's right around 10. I think that's a must play. PPR, full PPR.
Would you guys touch Doug Martin this week?
No.
Okay.
I will, and
I mean,
I will in the Millionaire Maker.
yeah, just cover a couple times, but I mean,
Like cash game, no.
Yeah.
I
He
mean,
has
One guy I probably won't have in any of my lineups this week in the Millionaire Maker is probably going to be Alfred Morris. Granted,
hard,
he is
though.
against Seattle, and he doesn't catch many passes. I just won't have him.
put
I
him
mean,
in,
what?
put him in your flex on a couple teams, and just make that decision Monday.
Martin touched Rainey 16-5. I mean, if he gets 15 plus touches at his price point, I think he's a pretty solid play. That just could kind of be a big if.
Yeah. Yeah. Any prices jump out on FanDuel for running backs?
Not
I've been
really.
looking at DK so much this week.
I know. I have
I
all.
just had to throw you guys off a little bit.
I mean, Bradshaw's kind of cheap, but I think you just spend. I think you go.
Just because the consensus is play the GPPs on DraftKings this week and play the cash games on FanDuel because the pricing on DraftKings is tough to put a lot of cash game money.
I kind of like Forsett too. If he's 6 on FanDuel. It's still a huge risk. Like Levy, I can't Teleferio. His name changes every time I hear it, but yeah, he could get the goal line work any second. So it's a tough cash game play. There's just not many.
I think this is the week to pay up for running backs and cash game on FanDuel. Go with like a Le'Veon Bell, Rashad Jennings, and
That's the DK combo. I'm probably like the best, but FanDuel, I mean, Murray Bell, you can fit it.
because you can go Eli at quarterback. I don't know if you want to play Eli and Jennings, but if you're going Eli at quarterback in cash games, you can spend a little bit at running back this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were just like writing off Eli right away. And now he's like one of the. I mean,
we weren't writing him off. We were just
hilarious how bad he starts.
Setting ourselves up for a possible disaster.
It's definitely set up this week for a massive letdown, but
yeah,
for that price, you just can't completely fade it.
There's a lot of high scoring. There's a lot of teams that are projected to score a lot of points this week. We spoke about the Giants already. We spoke about Green Bay. They play tomorrow. Who are some of your favorite under-the-radar offenses this week?
Under the radar. Say it again. Under the radar offenses.
Yeah.
You go first, Dan. I gotta look a little bit.
That's tough. I will have shares, and these are kind of punt options for the Millionaire Maker. I will have shares of both the Buccaneers and Texans offenses. So, like if I'm going cheap at quarterback, Mike Glennon, and then Ryan Fitzpatrick.
There's just going to be so much running in that Dallas-Houston game.
I think there probably will. Fitzpatrick can provide a little value with his legs too. I mean, it's obviously kind of a contrarian play, but it's something I'll have. Actually, the over/under that jumped out at me this week was Colts Ravens at 49. So I think Flacco might fly under the radar a little bit, even though he had a nice week last week. He could be an interesting option.
It's interesting you say that because I'm pretty sure I saw on Twitter Sunday night that the Baltimore Ravens were ranked by Pro Football Focus as the #1 passing offense in the league right now.
It's all those tip ball touchdowns.
Yeah, the motivation that Steve Smith had, the extra motivation to catch that.
There's some. What do you guys
in
think
the
about
schoolyard,
Olsen?
running around these folks like in the schoolyard.
Is it Olsen's revenge turn?
Good old Greg.
Yeah.
I'll have him in a few spots. I can see it.
Possible. I mean, guys, Philadelphia might be in for a nice week.
I think Sproles.
I don't think
Go ahead.
the Rams' offense is going to be on the field much, and Chip Kelly is gonna cook some. He's gonna cook some points this week. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting with Philly this week. I think this is a week for them, like a Jordan Matthews, Sproles in your DraftKings lineups.
Those Philly running backs are probably going to be the most under-owned, just based on other options and what they've done lately. And they're definitely a tournament-winning or one of those two.
Combo,
Not
yes.
combo. No.
Combo, yes.
Maybe Sproles with the Eagles D, a couple returns, but they're just going to be insanely under-owned.
Comes a point in time where they're going to have to pad LaShawn McCoy's stats. If they go up early,
it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. They're going to pad his stats just to make him happy, because after they won a game a couple of weeks ago, the reporters were asking him, "So, what do you think about your production this week?" Because they're trying to make him look bad by trying to force him to say something, give a bad answer.
It's just like coming off an ugly. I mean, it was a close game, but it was an ugly offensive loss for them. Coming back home against the Rams, it just kind of feels like a no mercy Chip Kelly.
It does
destruction.
It's the same thing with the Saints this week. It feel like if you want to play the whole narrative street thing, it sets up well for Peyton and Chip Kelly just to put the pedal to the metal and just destroy offensively.
Yeah. Do you guys think Denver is going to explode this week? I know they're not getting talked about much, even though they're Denver. What do you guys think of the Broncos?
I like Sanders a lot on DraftKings, 5,100. Patterson I always mix Peterson. I always mix Peterson up. Peterson is probably going to be on Demarius, but you just can't fade that. Like on a cash game lineup, I would go Sanders if you're going to pick one just for the price. One option, like receiving option. I mean, Julius, I'd rather go Jimmy Graham if you're going to spend there. I just think Sanders stood out, and then cover the rest in a tournament. Hedge them all, because they could blow up any week.
If you are playing cash games on both, I think it's a good way to hedge lineups at the tight end position. Thomas is 700 less on DraftKings, so I think he's the play there, and then you can get Graham for cheaper on FanDuel. So I think both of them set up for big weeks, and I think that's a good way to hedge is just playing on the separate sites.
Arizona's notoriously famous for being bad against tight ends, right?
Oh, yeah. And that's why I think, depending on how the scheme works out, that's why I kind of think Monte Ball could have a huge game, depending on I think they have one decent pass coverage linebacker on the team. I'd have to go back and see kind of how Pro Football Focus grades them out. But if they shade that linebacker over on Thomas and open up room for Monte Ball, that's why I think he could have a huge game. I think Demaryius Thomas is still in a good spot, even if Peterson shadows him. He's actually been fairly underwhelming this year as far as performance goes. Both Peterson and Demaryius Thomas. Actually, Thomas, I looked up the numbers. He only had 4 games last year where he had less than 75 receiving yards. And this year, every single game has been 62 or less, I think 62 is high. So I don't know if there's anything there. I really don't think there is anything to it. I think it's kind of just how the game's played out, kind of random. So I don't expect him to perform so poorly. So I like Demaryius Thomas this week.
I like him too. Patrick Peterson jumps out at me as a cornerback that likes to take risks and try to, jump at interceptions and try to strip fumbles. And Demaryius is a very good runner after the catch, which, Peterson, if Demaryius gets catches a screen pass or, a comeback route, it's very possible that Peterson's going to miss on a tackle and Demaryius will break it.
And they like to set him up for those with the bubble screen.
Yeah, they've been doing that play like this year much with him. That's all they ran with him last year, and it worked.
Yeah,
that little screen, and he just
it worked week 3, but he stepped out of bounds, and there was a penalty.
Oh yeah.
I think I saw everyone complaining I didn't actually see it. I saw everyone complaining on Twitter about it though.
Yeah.
The best was last year opening game. Peyton was going off, and Demaryius didn't have anything. They threw him a couple screen passes in the 4th quarter in a blowout game. He just took them to the house.
Yeah, and that's what you get when you roster Demaryius. Do we have a question on thoughts on Alshon? I will say I mean, he's pretty much always a good play. The matchup isn't great for him. And today, for the first time, it actually looks like Brandon Marshall fully participated in practice, which he hasn't done in a while. If he's fully healthy, that obviously downgrades some of Alshon's value. So I think you want to kind of play close attention to that. If Marshall's the same guy he's been the last 2 weeks, which is like 3 receptions on 12 targets for, like 30 yards or so. If Marshall's that same guy and is extremely limited, then Alshon is obviously a very good play. If Marshall is fully healthy or close to fully healthy, then you got to downgrade the value a little bit.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, it's relatively high over-under. I mean, not really, actually. 45.5, but it's a close spread. I mean, cash game for 6,700, I probably wouldn't, but he's definitely in that range where it's going to get overlooked in that big tournament.
I think, and the way my lineups have been kind of getting constructed is it seems, I don't know if you've been the same way, Nat, it seems like I'm spending more on running backs because the options at wide receiver seem to be kind of in that 45 to 6,000 range, seem to be the guys that you want. So I think as far as roster construction goes, I think that's the more optimal way to go. But then again, that might be the way to differentiate yourself is try to get some of those guys in the 65 to 8,000 range in your lineups because they might not be as highly owned.
I mean, just looking on the surface at these wide receivers, we got Calvin Benjamin coming in at $4,800.
I know.
Yep. He's going to be on way too many of my lineups and just fail miserably.
Yeah. Kotcher's going to have like 4 touchdowns.
Yep.
I think
that's the thing. If you look, that offense is so bad. When you look, because I was creating some lineups and you drop down from Benjamin to Kotchery and Avant is your other receiving options on that team. Minus Greg Olsen. Yeah, and then you go. Oh, I saw you and Laffy talking about that in chat. You guys are ridiculous. and then you have no running game. So yeah, that offense is just so bad.
Yeah, Hawkins 35s. I kind of do like that. I'm hedging the Browns Titans D a lot. I think one's gonna be. They were both under 3,000. I think it's probably a low scoring ish game. I like both those Ds.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Hawkins is crazy cheap.
They did that weird thing where they did it week 1, then they stopped it the following couple weeks on DraftKings where they spread the defensive salaries out like crazy. Mm-hmm. And there's really not. I mean, if you want to play a lower owned defense, simply play one of the higher priced options because you can get some pretty decent low priced defensive options.
I kind of like Denver this week.
I do too.
Defense.
At 2,600.
Yeah. Especially if Palmer plays, he can't move. even though in the opening week he kind of had some Ben Roethlisberger type of, Houdini moves in the pocket, throw it down the field. It's not going to happen again. So that's a defense that.
You're either getting an injured Palmer or Drew Stanton.
Yeah, most likely playing from behind on the road.
Right.
Another wide receiver that I like, and the total in this game, as we spoke about earlier, is high. Torrey Smith at 4,800 on DraftKings. Don't shake your head, Nap.
Just bleh.
It's a man. I like a wide receiver from that Broncos game more than Torrey Smith. That's kind of close in price. Michael Floyd.
Yeah.
For the Cardinals at 5,300. I think I'd rather have him. I'd also rather have a guy we didn't really touch on yet. Brandon Cooks is 4,700.
I was just gonna ask about Brandon Cooks. Yeah.
He's just
he's a lot of these mid-price receivers on DraftKings are very much in play.
I think DeAndre Hopkins is insanely underpriced again against Dallas. Andre is just bleh this year. I mean, he's getting targets, but I mean, it should be going to Hopkins. So you got to definitely cover that 4,800 at Dallas. That could be one of his just insane months. he keeps getting in my lineups. Like I keep making teams, and he just opens so much salary.
Who do you guys like as your long shot receivers this week? Cheap, cheap guys you're gonna take a shot on this week. Not
That
Jermaine
aren't gonna
Kearse. Not Jermaine Kearse.
Someone
There's
someone in chat earlier said Stills is injured, but is he? I haven't seen anything on that. He's not
He had a
injured,
couple
is
of catches last week, but did he come out?
Yeah, he's injured. He mentally dropped a pass that cost.
I don't think he's actually injured. I haven't
Yeah,
seen anything on it.
2 for 62 last week.
He's a deep guy. He's a deep threat that you could potentially see. The thing is, I don't think there's really no reason to gamble on a lot of these guys on DraftKings because the pricing's so soft. An interesting pairing for me would be at wide receiver, and then defense would be Jeremy Ross, and then the Lions defense. He had a long touchdown last week. He could be a guy that you take a flyer on and then pair him with the Lions defense.
I mean, yeah, Wheaton's.
Well, we spoke
way
about
down
Ruben
there,
Randall at
too.
3,900.
Randall. There's so many. I mean, Curly. No one's gonna be on him again after that dud. I mean, he could 3,300 if Decker something happens to him quick. It's all Curly. It's got to cover that for that price.
Yeah, Marcus Wheaton's 3,300.
No Marcus Wheaton for me.
I saw.
I was just trying to imitate Davis for a second.
Evan Silva, actually, I saw tweeted about him too, right when I was thinking about him, and he basically said if Wheaton's gonna have a big week, this is the big week. And I think he posted that the Jaguars have 21 or more, have allowed 21 or more plays of 20 plus yards. So, and that's kind of where Wheaton finds his value as a deep threat. So this would be the week if he does anything.
Two interesting, min price guys. Malcolm Floyd against the Jets. And Miles Austin against Tennessee. Austin has 2 touchdowns has a touchdown in 2 consecutive games. Would you guys consider them? What are you guys' thoughts on them?
I mean, I'm not going heavy on them, but
I'm just saying.
they're definitely. I mean, Floyd, all he does is really catch bombs, and that's definitely what you for that price. You just need one. So yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I am doing a good amount of Rivers combos. There's so Gates is crazy cheap. Royal's still 4,400 if he does it keeps that pace up. Probably not. It's hard to trust any single Chargers receiver in a cash game, but yeah.
Would you go Lewis Murphy over those two?
Over those two, God, they're pretty much equal to me. I mean, he had 11 targets, but he's probably gonna. I mean, he is gonna start, but it is Lewis Murphy. But I guess I'd give him a little edge. Just he's likely to be playing from behind. Saints pass D's bad. I like him. Yeah, over those two.
All right, we got to get to the tight end. We spoke about Jimmy Graham and Julius Thomas. One on FanDuel, one on DraftKings with the pricing. Anyone else that sticks out? I know Travis Kelce is gonna be ridiculously owned on DraftKings with that price tag.
Yeah.
Are you guys comfortable fading him?
Not. If you like 2 teams in this thing, I could definitely see that, but you just can't. I mean, hedge him and Safarian Jenkins, and you should be. If one gets 20, that's just huge for if you have like a 20-team chunk of just those 2 combos or 2 guys on 10 each. That's insane. They're gonna play Safarian's probably gonna play almost every snap he did last week. And then Kelsey's just gonna be triple his ownership, but it's so hard to fade him.
Yeah, I know Dan is very high on Safarian Jenkins this week.
Yeah, he's of the 2. He's one I'd rather have, but when you factor in everything, that includes game theory, where you have to hit on some of these guys that are going to be a little underowned as opposed to the guys like Kelce. I think Kelsey's hype is at an all-time high. He's going to be extremely high owned. He's a good play.
In a bad matchup.
Yeah, he's a good play even though it's a bad matchup. He's a good play because of the price, not because the matchup's good. So I could see him.
It's his birthday, though.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I saw you tweet about that. It's his birthday, so you got that going for you. But Yeah, I mean, ASJ is just in a better spot matchup wise and snap count wise. He should see an increased amount of red zone looks too with Mike Evans out. It's either gonna if they're close and they're not running, it's either gonna be Vincent Jackson or ASJ in the end zone. So I like him more than Kelsey this week.
Wow.
Anyone else? Nap?
Just any tight ends, or I mean, Heath Miller. Yeah, Heath Miller's still under 4,000. I like him a lot against Jacksonville. Then it just kind of jumps up to like the Olsen Donald range, and then Olsen Donald Bennett range, and then I'm not really on Gronk this week. Like, I need to see him have that solid game, getting the targets. It's just that offense is just gross. Cincinnati's not a good matchup. And then either Julius or Graham. So it's kind of little ranges. It's just for a cash game. I think you go Graham, or I mean, Tuttle's going to go Safarian, but I just think Kelsey for that.
So it's pretty high-low tight ends. You know, expensive guys, cheap guys, and
Owen Daniels.
Yeah,
Owen Daniels.
Don't forget,
Walker's still
don't
getting
forget, guys. Don't forget, if you're running a lot of lineups in the DraftKings Millionaire, have a few where you're flexing a tight end. It's worked in the past.
Yeah.
All right, we got a big weekend ahead of us, guys. Wishing everyone best of luck this weekend.
Are we gonna make a team together quickly? Let's make a team in this tournament. I'll throw it in.
Okay, you throw it in. Let's do it.
It's gonna be so easy. We're just gonna
we're overtime, but want to make a quick one?
Yeah, let's make
we're getting paid overtime. Who cares?
Let's do a quick.
All right,
let's do a quickie.
Of
course, David comes in for.
Nap just wants as much exposure with his new webcam as possible.
I know.
Or he just wants to show everyone that the San Francisco Giants are on his mind.
What do you guys think about this game? Who's your picks?
No, we're on overtime. We're on overtime.
I like the Giants a lot.
I'm loading this page. Just keep talking about baseball.
All right, should I start?
Tuttle's going to be rooting for the Giants.
All right, I got Denver Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
Broncos D, you're starting?
Yeah.
Okay. Come on, load. Tuttle, you go. It's still loading for me.
All right, Broncos D, we have...
You got to go with your boy. You got to do your own strategy.
I don't know who my boy is.
Safarian?
Cover boy?
All right, cover boy will go up. ASJ.
Nat.
I can't talk about the Nats. That's gonna be a good series, whoever it is. Nats versus one of these two. I'll go. We gotta go a little crazy. Let's go crazy on this team. We got Denver, Safarian.
We just went Safarian.
We're going Reggie Bush.
Like it.
I like it.
Dave, are you in?
Oh, I am in, friend.
All right, but if we win, you're not getting a piece of any of the money. You know that, right?
That is not true.
330. You can add the remaining. We'll each take 333,000, and you can get the remaining.
I'll get the 1,000.
Yep.
Well, normally I'd be all about that. I don't know. Let's go a little crazy, shall we? What do you guys think about Darren Sproles?
Oh God.
Sure.
No.
I feel like you take them every week.
Bush Sproles is no one will have that combo, and it's just 6 catches each. Money.
Upside.
So, but Sproles or Benjamin? You guys decide.
Sproles. Everyone's gonna have Benjamin. It's just, we gotta go crazy.
Okay, Sproles. That means we're gonna have a lot to work with.
Yes.
All right, my turn. You guys want to continue with the go crazy route?
Yeah. I feel like you're going crazy might be a little crazier.
Yeah,
than,
not like
than my dad life going crazy.
All right, let's just go Demarius.
Okay.
Let's hope he
I like it.
gets closer to his big numbers.
I was gonna run in Monte Ball, but I can't at that. I'm gonna go Peyton. I'm gonna pair Demarius.
All right.
Good.
He could be under-owned as most expensive QB.
'Cause
I think he might.
That's what I was going to do as well. All right, Nap. We got 2 receivers and a flex.
Guys, the ceiling of this team is like, you know.
Really high.
10. Crazy ceiling that no one's gonna have. Let's go Roddy White. Gamble.
Whoa.
Yeah.
All right, Roddy.
I like it.
Why
I
not?
actually like it.
All right,
He
and
had
I'm
like
gonna,
16 targets last week. Insane.
I'm gonna do something that Jonathan Bells talks about in his book that is a good tournament strategy, and that is playing 2 tight ends. So I'm gonna go with Julius Thomas to pair with Demarius with Peyton.
That was
All
beautiful.
out.
That's what I was waiting
We
for
have
you to do.
3,800 left.
And you
We
got the
need-
perfect guy to
We
pick
need
one
one
receiver.
more.
You got the perfect guy to pick a receiver at 3,800.
Justin Hunter.
We needed
No.
one more 100 for Reuben Randall.
Oh
Maybe.
man.
Everybody's going Hawkins.
Oh, man.
We're all agreeing. I mean,
No.
who else?
Yeah, we could
No.
go off of I don't know. We could go off Broncos if we wanted to, since we do have.
Since we won a high scoring game.
Yeah, since we won a
We want a
high scoring
shootout.
game. Let's go off Broncos.
Bronco, another Bronco?
No. Go off the defense, Broncos. Since we already have 3 offensive players, you don't want 3 offensive players because
Yeah.
if the Broncos score like 2 defensive touchdowns, then
Yeah.
you know that
Then
Peyton's
we're out.
So all right, so let's get rid of the Broncos defense. Okay.
So you pick a wide receiver, and then we'll pick a defense together off of that.
Cowboys D's 2,500.
Isn't that backwards? Should we just pick a D?
Actually, Saints D is 2,500. That might not be bad.
Yeah, we got Safarian though. We're not gonna do that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no,
we're not
no,
going to
no.
do
Okay.
that. I like the Eagles defense this week. Also.
Me too. We got Sproles. I like that combo.
There you
Oh,
go.
Eagles defense. People return the punt again.
Then we got 31 left. We got a minimum.
We get that's
I got a
that's
receiver.
better
I got a
than
receiver. I got a receiver at 3,100.
Oh, gosh.
All right, who?
Why are you saying, oh gosh?
Because we're expecting
mean-
like Robert Woods.
Yeah, he's the only one.
Robert-
After
Yeah,
me.
Robert Ward's the only option at that
No,
point.
it's not. We spoke about
You
3
mean-
guys at $3,000.
Oh, you said 31. That's like
I know.
exactly 31.
All right, we spoke about 3 guys at $3,000. Who did we say? We said. Who did we say? We said Malcolm Floyd. We said
Miles
Malcolm Floyd,
Austin.
Miles Austin. There was one more guy.
Is
Lewis Murphy.
is
We
Murphy
can't go-
at minimum or 30? Yeah, there
Murphy's
he is.
minimum, but we
Allen
have
Robinson.
Safarian Jenkins,
Allen Robinson.
Allen Robinson.
LaFell.
Allen Robinson
If
is-
he can do. Is LaFell gonna
You got
repeat?
Murphy, if you wanted to pair him with Jenkins. You've got Malcolm Floyd, who's been catching long touchdowns. If you wanted to go,
Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson.
Anybody on New England cheap because they play Sunday night, and we can do a swap if we have to.
no.
Well, you'd have to do what? You'd have to.
Brandon LaFell.
Let's
You
do,
could.
let's do Andre Roberts.
You guys want to go LaFell?
Gosh, what the?
Hey, you want to go LaFell or for all time's sake Jermaine Kearse?
Why are we doing a min-price receiver on these salaries? We could fit anyone.
Gotta do it.
Because you went Roddy White.
I know. Damn it.
all
Kenny
right,
Britt.
you,
Kenny. Oh, we got Philly D.
you guys want to go? Listen, I'm all for. I know we're running out of time. I'm all for
Jermaine
LaFell.
Kearse. Jermaine
I'm
Kearse,
all-
your boy.
I'm all for LaFell.
I agree. Okay, Allen Robinson it is. Let's go.
All right,
Is Allen
Robinson.
Robinson min salary?
Allen
Yeah.
Robinson is men's salary. I've been saying it for like.
Oh, Kenny Britt, man, Kenny freaking.
Allen Robinson over Kenny Britt.
We got Eagles D though. We can't.
Let's do it. All right, let's lock it in. Peyton
Allen.
Manning, Reggie Bush, Darren Sproles, Demarius, Roddy White, Allen Robinson, Safarian Jenkins, Julius Thomas, and Eagles defense.
There you
Guys,
go.
if Darren Sproles returns
So
a punt,
random.
we're winning this thing.
Yeah. If
we
Bush-
got this.
If Bell doesn't play, last second.
This is a great tournament team.
This
for-
really is a great tournament team.
It actually is really. I like it.
All right,
We got this, guys.
Lock it in. All right, guys.
I'm actually going to enter it too. That way, if you guys cut me out, I get
Get a little
500.
piece.
Well, I'm
Get-
gonna enter it then too.
We got no one
Let's
in the
all
late
enter
game.
it in. Let's all enter it in.
There we go. Then we don't have to worry about transferring
Yeah.
into their money.
Yeah,
Forward
okay.
half.
No, then we win more money than we would originally would have because we would win first, second, third, and fourth place.
Yeah, and we don't have to worry about the hassle of Splitting the money up. There we go.
Everyone in the chat's gonna put it in too.
I
We're gonna
know,
30-way tie for first.
There's going to be everyone in the
awesome.
chat plus us. There's going to be a 23-way tie.
DraftKings is going to suspend our accounts for posting for submitting the same lineup at the same time.
No, I think this is a good
Someone
story.
should do that team, but put Kelsey in over just for a little different.
This would be like incredible exposure for FI.
Davis is a company man. David Kitchen is a company man.
Yeah.
Sign on to or log on to InsidersTV for $1 million lineups.
So
meanwhile, he has a DraftKings Pro.
yeah, I'll be doing
banner behind
DKTV,
him.
just going nuts.
Just rubbing it in our face that he gets to be a DraftKings Pro with a FanDuel shirt on. Such a company man.
What the heck? I don't have a FanDuel shirt on.
That's like me walking to the gym yesterday. All right, guys.
Starling Marte's doing bad right now.
That'll do it. Good luck to everybody this Sunday. Hopefully one of us or one of our viewers wins $1 million so we can get some nice emails and hopefully a tip.
I'm playing
If I win,
LaFell.
I will get a new computer if I win.
Oh yeah, baby.
All right.
If this, I'm gonna play LaFell just to tilt Gindy if it goes off.
You're gonna be the one tilted after we win the.
Oh,
money.
probably, yeah.
Kitchen, no Taylor Swift this week.
Gindy would be asking me for a refund. I'm sure if the LaFell lineup went off.
No Taylor Swift this week. No Taylor Swift music this week.
No Taylor Swift music this week.
Yeah, we
Napster
didn't get an
Man.
intro song. What's going
Napster Man banned me from.
You can play Taylor.
No, oh, Taylor. Yeah, Taylor. First name basis.
Yeah, I was just gonna say first name basis.
We're old friends.
It's like me and Travis Kelsey.
You and Katie.
He's a new friend of FI. All right, guys. Join us tomorrow. We'll have JJ Zachariason, Drew Dinkmeyer, and Davis Maddock on the show. 5 p.m. Eastern should be a good show. Thanks to Napster Man, Mark Gindy, and Dan, Mr. Total 05 at Gasper. Thanks to Elite for sponsoring the show. We'll see you tomorrow.
Go Giants.